Navigating today's real estate market can be tricky. Want to buy or sell a house, finance or insure a house, or stuck with a house and don't know what to do? Florida Talk Real Estate has been your local one-stop real estate shop since 2012. Get the advice you need from your local real estate pros. Here are your hosts, Jim Di Paola and Johnny C. live on Real Radio.
Good South Florida morning. Welcome to another edition of Florida Talk Real Estate. We got you for the next 2 hours of infotainment, and thank you for being there. 92.1, 101.7, tuning in on the old terrestrial radio. We appreciate you choosing just that. Of course, if you have your free download, your iHeartRadio app, we are worldwide. And if you're like at some random pocket of the world listening right now, that's amazing that you choose to do that. Thank you for making us a part of your Saturday morning or whatever it is in your time zone right now. Live streaming happens on a Saturday. How do I know? Because there's cameras and lights set up in here. It's a lot of work done before the show starts so that you can join a live stream. You can do it on Facebook, Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook, on YouTube, Florida Talk Real Estate LLC, home of a ton of informational chunk videos, plus a live stream on a Saturday. If you're there, thank you. If you're not, you can at any time join in and even revisit later. Hit share and like. Thanks for being there. And of course, you're welcome to be a part of the program live on this 22nd of August, 877-927-6969. If you do dial in with questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate, want to be involved in the conversation at hand, the first voice you'll hear, the melodious tones of my brother from another mother, our producer extraordinaire. There's Timothy. What's up, dude?
Hello, and good morning, gentlemen. Happy Saturday.
What's up, man?
Oh, doing well. How are you, Johnny?
I'm good, bud. Good to see you as always.
Nice. Good to see you as well.
And thank you for all that you do out the gates.
Appreciate that.
Johnny C., that's me, your old buddy, your old pal. Let's get your very important people introduced properly on a Saturday, like Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
How are you?
I was thinking about my intro. You know how last week Chris, like you guys dropped his pivotal cog?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, wait a second. Where's mine? Like something you could throw in, like when you say the VIPs and Mike, my guy, Mike, the more, that one's,
Is it tired to you? Yeah. Needs a little.
I just think I need something. And Jim, sorry, Jim, we don't know who Jim is.
Good enough. Is that what you're saying?
It's not me. Right? That was a
All right.
camel in the
True
insurance commercial.
It's back, by the way. Where's Tomlin?
I saw
Oh.
it.
Mike.
I saw it.
Oh, it's so good.
It's
Yeah,
good,
yeah,
by
yeah.
the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I
You
mean,
just don't
whoever did that in the advertising world, kudos.
They nailed it. Right.
I was thinking
I
you could.
don't know if you
record
understand when
something
I
for me.
say the most amazing guy, like we have the best producer. He'll come up with something. You just have to incentivize him.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
oh, okay. I know just what to get you.
Everybody knows it.
I heard a rumor. No.
Yeah, just got to incentivize him.
And I was thinking, like, I might be wrong, but I think I started the show in 2016,
Really? So
which would make this year 10.
we're in a
Oh,
decade.
today
huh?
is the 10th year. I mean,
Well, and
this
it's not
year is the
today.
10th.
Like, I don't know what the day was,
I
the
think
first
it
show.
was January.
In January. Huh.
Because you started right at the beginning of the year. I remember that.
I don't remember that, but I think it was 2016, which would give me 10 years, which I'm like, okay.
There's some kind
I mean,
of.
Chris got it in like 10 days.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I could get something in 10 years.
Well, but that's the attention span now. I mean, things have
Oh.
changed, Mike.
I'm more of a foundational.
Yeah, you are. You were we built on. That's how we kind of built it, and now it's like chop, 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 or we don't even have.
Like, I don't need a drop. I'm still here.
Well, no,
Right.
I mean, if it's gonna make you feel better
It
and
might.
perform better,
It might.
so that's sometimes you dress for the
Yeah.
success, not
Oh.
know, for anything else.
Okay.
I don't know if you can do much better though.
All right. Maybe we'll come up with something.
But again, you incentivize that guy.
I just
over
got to
there.
get with Jim at 3
That's
directly.
That's it.
Got it.
Pretty easy.
Okay.
He'll do it organically. Mike. It'll just get thrown at you.
Yeah.
But if you want something with a little extra pizzazz,
What if you record it?
me,
I got to incentivize both of you guys.
I you just tell me what you need me to do. I'll do.
Can you do like
you-
a
you
boxing
need-
ring
you need-
announcer voice?
I can try.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you need him. He's
All right.
Yeah.
He is extraordinary
must have. Yes.
Okay. in many ways.
Yep. I'm
Okay.
fluff.
All right.
Yep.
Well, hi everybody.
Hi.
Thanks for
Nice to see you.
indulging my my vanity there.
Mike. And let's go ahead and
Michael?
say officially good morning to our fearless leader. 14 plus years now, he's been running a top producing Keller Williams team. It's the Florida Home Pros, Keller Williams Innovations. Jimmy D, how you be? There's Jim Di Paola.
Hey, happy self-flurry, buddy. Anyway, you gave me a really good laugh. Like, I can't believe he's still obsessed about this from last week. That's what's making me laugh so hard.
Well,
I still think about it.
So that drop, can you play the pivotal cog drop for those that don't know what we're talking about?
Oh yeah. We did this for Chris.
Please. So
And that's really good.
I think that when he heard it, right? Like, we're like, here's Chris Peterson. And then here's the, the effect that it has. I think he went, oh, I don't have that. 'Cause
Like, wait a
that
second.
that like slams in there. You
It
know
was
what I mean?
more. It wasn't so much envy. I think it was jealousy.
I'm a little
Yeah.
jealous. You know what I get? I get just, hey, I would love a little bang, 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 bang.
Well, you do. You are on the intro. It's Jim Di Paola and Johnny C.
Yeah,
Live.
well, and you know what? I've always wondered why.
Johnny C. Live.
Because I'm fluff.
Oh no, you're the meat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
yeah.
You don't like a ton of meat, do you?
Jeez, I don't know. Depends on
Excuse me,
how
what
hungry I
is
am.
that?
Yeah. He had that ready to go.
Oh yeah.
He's got a whole panel that's like top row.
What? Oh no, you thought that was a sound effect. He's mic'd up down there.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, we do. Good thing we got a special guest today. Sorry, Jim. Hi.
Hey, we do have a special guest today. We're really excited that Dorothy Jacks, the Palm Beach County Property Appraiser, she's coming on at 10.
Awesome.
It's going to be live for an hour.
That's great.
We're going to, the things we want to talk about the most, of course, is Amendment 3 of the SAVE Act, talking about the numbers behind that and how it might work. Got to remember that Dorothy is not the one that proposed this bill or anything, but she's the one that's going to have to deal with it if it passes, and if it doesn't, we stay the way we are right now.
Sure, she's gonna have a real understanding of the numbers of it in Palm Beach County.
So this is just about education, guys. So we're more than happy to take questions on the air. But please, no red, blue crap. Excuse my language, but we don't want that here. That isn't what this is about.
Strictly purple here.
Yeah, I don't even want to say purple. We're just nothing, right? It's just like no color, because everybody has their own opinion and they can do what they want. This is America, right?
Yeah, you almost have to force politics into this.
Yes,
You really do. Like, you
Yeah.
have to intentionally make this a political aspect if you want it to be, because this is pretty down the middle. This affects everybody. You not uniquely either. Like, this is all of us. And I think you have to force the political aspect into it. And if you choose to do that, do it somewhere else.
Yeah, there's
This is
plenty of
not gonna be the
venues.
place,
There's plenty
right?
of venues to argue your case, whether you like the law, whether you like the amendment or you don't like the amendment. That's a different subject. Well, we're going to be talking about, if the amendment passes, what would the effects be? And who better to tell us than the Palm Beach County Property Appraiser?
Well, and when I say do it somewhere else, we'd be more than happy to have an open forum discussion about it. It's just not going to be with Dorothy, because Dorothy's going to be giving us the facts, the numbers. She's not going to be opinion based. This isn't going to be, what do you think type stuff. This is going to be the,
How does this work?
right.
Like,
will this
how
work?
would it work?
Right. What is going to be the effects if this comes into play?
I had a really good conversation with AJ, our appraiser, experiencedappraisers.com. I'm sorry, I couldn't remember it. I was going to call him appraiser extraordinaire.
Oh,
But AJ,
Timothy,
yeah, and
stepping on
then
your toes.
he'll get make one of those stingers for him, just to get Mike mad. Tease it. So
you're
AJ,
gonna have to incentivize.
Yeah.
Timothy's over there thinking about all these incentives. He's getting.
AJ has very strong opinions about this, and he's born and raised Florida, so he's a real Florida boy too. He talks about, well, I don't want to get into it, but anyway, the bottom line is he had some really good points of what he thinks might happen from an appraisal point of view. Somebody born and raised here, been here a long time. So we're going to talk about the SAVE Act, but we're also going to talk about millage rates and how millage rates work and understand that. Because one of my big questions is when they get these big boosts in values for assessed value and market value on the property appraiser, and the taxes go up, even if the millage rate isn't changed, it's a huge boon to the local governments. And I just want to ask her how that works, a little bit. I think that's really important. And those are my two big things. And then I'm going to ask her this because everybody disagrees on this, but I thought one of the easiest ways to deal with this, if you're trying to help people that are homesteaded not pay extraordinarily high taxes, that if a homeowner is selling a homesteaded property and then they're selling to a person that's going to be homesteading it afterwards, that they get to slide into that tax rate. And my argument has always been that that way you're doing apples to apples. You're getting a homesteaded person in the homesteaded property to get to save the taxes on that. AJ was explaining to me, well, if you do that, the cities and the counties are counting on that when that house is sold, they're going to get this big bump in the tax bill, and that they feel like they need that big bump in order to keep everything going. But I feel like that would be a way, because I don't know how many times, Mike, that we've looked at properties for people, and based on the current tax bill that's there, the buyer could barely get into the house. I'm just talking about if somebody's tight. And then when they find out what the new tax bill is going to be, it's like, I just really can't afford that anymore. I can't afford that in my future. And then they lose the deal. And I'm like, well, the county's operating okay and the local city is operating okay on the tax bill they already got now. And now my person can't buy it because their tax bill is going to be twice as much as the current one. My tax bill at the place I just bought is going to be about 85% more than what the current tax bill is. So that's a big thing when people are trying to buy a home, property, and I think it could be affordable that way.
Sure, when the taxes reset, absolutely.
But I don't know. Maybe that isn't a good idea. But to me, that just seems like it's apples to apples.
Maybe it gets tied in there somehow, some way, if the amendment passes.
Or maybe there's a cap. Maybe to help the counties in the city, maybe they can have a cap that you can get so much savings, but you can't get all the savings. Like if it's a huge amount of savings. Right to the.
I mean, they already have a mechanism for retaining your savings with the portability, but it's not based on the home; it's based on you. So, like if you owned a home and you've owned it for a number of years, you have built up a tax savings there. And so, when you buy a new primary home, you get to take that with you because that's what you've built up, not necessarily what the house built up that you're buying, but what you've built up with your own efforts.
But I also, if they're really talking about affordability and everything, I'm more focused on the new buyer trying to get the person that's going to have portability.
Sure.
That's the way I'm looking at it.
First-time home buyer.
Yeah, first-time home buyers, and I think that would really help a lot. I think it would open up a lot of opportunities.
Maybe you don't do anything else but say if it's a first-time home buyer, and it's not like you've owned a home within the last 5 years, first-time home buyer, right? Like let's legitimately
make they have no portability.
Well, let's legitimately make this like a first-time experience, not like I haven't owned a home in a few years, I'm considered a first-timer. Let's make this like real legit first-time home buyer, and then when they're buying a home, let's put in some mechanism that doesn't allow for their obligation on their tax for that property to go through the roof the next year, right? Like put some floor in there or some ceiling in there to where it'll adjust, and that way it's not as shocking, right? And maybe it's not the exact homesteading that was built in on the person that owned it already, but maybe close or somewhere in there.
The approach that we take, and I think it's a prudent approach, is like, one thing is what can you qualify for? And when we're talking about the qualifying payment, when you're trying to get a loan, we use the current tax bill under most circumstances. There are certain circumstances where we're calculating kind of an estimated bill, but most of the time it's the existing tax bill. And we as the professionals have to know that we would be doing a disservice to these people if we didn't talk about what's your bill going to be.
Right.
Because one thing is like, hey, it's tough. It's a tough market. I want to buy this house in this neighborhood, and the only way I can get in there is if I find a home that has low taxes, because I'm pushing up against my max. Boom, we're going to take advantage of this current homeowner's low taxes. But from a budget perspective, you need to know that a year from now, a year and a half from now, whatever November is following the year that you close, you're going to see that adjustment. And what is that adjustment going to be? and trying to anticipate that so that they know they're not getting blindsided when their escrow payment. And, as much as you do this, nothing speaks as loud as that escrow analysis letter that you get in December or January that says, hey, based on what we've paid out, we need to adjust your escrow payment because of this and this.
Mhm.
So people are always a little bit shocked with that, especially the first year that the taxes adjust, because that's like the big one. So I see that. I think we get out in front of it by having conversations with people. I explain to people about property taxes. I have a document that I've written to I'll have to rewrite it,
Cool.
depending on November. But it's just something that I try to make people aware of.
Well, they get it twice because with us, we have the conversation during the buyer's consultation. Mike's telling them. And then when we're looking for the properties, we're doing the individual calculations on each property before they turn in the offer to make sure
Because not everybody knows to ask that question. Like, hey, what's this thing going to be in the long run? Like we tell, here's what it is now. Here's what it is for qualifying. But what's it going to be in the long run? And I don't want to wait around for somebody to ask that question. I want to spot, especially ones where I see that's going to be a big change.
Yeah, somebody's house been homesteaded for 15 years and they're paying $2,500 a year, and other people are paying $8,000. Right?
Yeah.
You got to have that conversation.
It's going to be a
shocking change. It will be shocking.
Yeah,
right?
and it very well could put them in a position where they can't afford their monthly obligation anymore.
Right.
Yeah, but you could look at it as an opportunity because it may allow you to get into the home that you couldn't have otherwise.
It's true.
And because the current owners, maybe they're paying $2,000 a year, but for you it's going to be $8,000 a year. But you're allowed to qualify under 2, and then I say, hey, are you really going to be prepared for this payment once it adjusts? And they'll be like, yeah, that's fine. It's okay. Well, then you lucked out.
Yeah.
Because if that home was currently $8,000 a year, you're not buying it.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
There was something you said there, Jim, and I was wondering, maybe this is something we can bring up with Dorothy, is the fact of that some of our local municipalities are planning on those increases, right? So if they're putting that into that budget, because how can they tell who's going to sell their home? So
Right.
I'm kind of interested in how they
That's a good question.
figure that.
Yeah, there might be like some kind of mathematical algorithm they
maybe
use or
just a
something.
certain percentage they're going by, that there's going to be 5% of homes that are sold in a year or something, so they can anticipate that. I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. So don't want to spend the first hour talking about what we're going to talk about the second hour. We're going to get there soon. We're really excited. Thank you, Dorothy, for coming on. This is going to be great. The other thing, so want to just do a couple of shout outs. I want to do a shout out to Chris and Pam. Chris and Pam, I met with them, I think almost 4 years ago, the first time. They own an AC company. They wanted to do some real estate at the time, but they weren't sure. They also had a sister that was having a problem with the mortgage. So we were the perfect people to call. And we went through everything and we solved the mortgage problem. Thank you, Mike.
Nice.
And then after that, Chris decided not to make a move at that point. We were okay with that. Kept in touch over the years. Now he owns an AC company. We'll talk about that later on another show. And he's making so much money, he needs to buy investment property, his accountant says. nice to do.
That's a
It's
good
summertime for AC. They always make a good money now. So anyway, we think Chris Peterson, my team member over on the Florida Home Pros, and I helped him.
You're gonna knock Mike Rauch right out of the show. You're gonna mentally knock.
Between us. That's the only reason why I got the nuts to do it.
I was excited. I looked over. You saw me. I was like, hey, did he pick it up? Are you going to do it?
Oh yeah.
So the agent, who will not be named, is he found a really great Airbnb short-term rental property in the Fort Lauderdale, Wilton Manors area. We think we'll be turning an offer in on it today.
Excellent.
We had to go through the accountant because there's some tax situations involved in this kind of deal. Went over to Mike, make sure that everything's okay with that. We're using a debt service credit ratio loan. Is that right? Did I say it right?
You got the 3/4 of it.
What was the credit?
It's
What's the
75.
C?
That's a C, right, John?
What's the C stand for?
They raised that a little bit.
Coverage.
coverage ratio.
What did you call it?
Credit.
Oh, credit rating.
It's so close.
So close.
Oh my God.
Next
Anyway,
time I think you got it.
I have dyslexia for sure.
There's
So-
got to be a better way to remember that.
Well, the
you
debt
got that
service,
service
the debt
part right. You
service part I
remembered
got,
that,
yeah,
'cause it's
coverage
credit
rate.
based.
Now covering the loan,
Yeah.
coverage ratio.
Right.
So this is a type of loan where
Nice.
basically part of the value of the property isn't necessarily the value of the home, but that you could rent the property out through annual rent and cover the mortgage. So you see a lot of ads on these ads are all over the place, at least in my feed for these type of loans. But if you're going to do these loans, you got to go to mine.
Well,
So-
on your feed because it comes up
yeah,
a lot.
probably
while
a
your
lot.
phone
Yeah,
doesn't.
probably. Yeah. So, but anyway, we're going to be using a DSCR, so we're going to be going through that, be turning an offer in today, probably. Congratulations to Matt and Heather. We got them under contract for their VA, for selling their house. They have a VA loan. We might be in the process of doing our first assumable VA loan.
Oh,
I've had like 3 or 4 of them in the last 18 months, and I've pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. Nobody took advantage of it. And we
We've got
might
the
have,
same challenge with this one that most people are going to run into when you try to assume these loans, Johnny, which is you can only assume the existing principal balance.
I almost feel like it's a scam.
But if the sales price is above that, you got to come up with that money. Right?
Yeah,
if you got a loan balance of 200,000, but the purchase price is 400,000,
you got to come up with 200.
you got to come up with 200K.
Well, or you get a second mortgage. And this is the scam part. I don't mean that the
It's-
assumable part's the scam.
It's
What,
VA assumable, and you don't have to be a veteran to assume it.
well, you
It's
don't,
the-
but we really wanted one because I don't want to get into that right now. But
I would say you do, and if you're the existing VA, if you're the existing homeowner, you do not want a non-vet assuming your loan.
right. And the short answer for that is because you don't get to keep your vet benefits to buy a new home or another home
And you're on
until
the hook if something
until
goes
that
wrong.
loan is
Ooh.
paid off. Yeah. So you don't want to be involved in that.
Oh.
But anyway,
Why would you?
the problem that I have.
I don't know that. I would-
Johnny, imagine like I'm going to buy your car, but I'm just going to assume your car loan.
Yeah,
But then if I stop making payments, it's going to mess you up.
Yeah.
It's me.
But-
I don't. That's ooh.
But that's not going to happen. So what we're talking about, though, the thing I don't like about the assumable loan situation, because I've had FHA loans that are assumable too,
Right.
is that let's say that you owe 200 and you're buying the house for 400. Well, if you don't have the other $200,000 to put down, you got to get a second mortgage. And in this case, the second mortgage is something like 9%, right? For the balance of what is owed from from what isn't the difference that you need to bring up, right? And then your ratios of how much equity you have to get that loan, it almost becomes untenable because getting the 6.5% interest rate you can get now might actually be an equal or better deal. Am I wrong about that part?
You're not wrong. So there's definitely those complications, and so when the whole point, why would you assume the loan? You're assuming a low interest rate, lower than market interest rate. But if you have to take a second loan to make up the cash thing, and that's at a higher than market interest rate, and if those two loan balances are similar to each other,
Mhm.
well, then you've crossed it out on one hand, and
Right.
what am I trying to say? You've offset the savings,
Yeah,
right? You
Totally
missed it.
have.
Yeah.
And
so-
even if you have to put a bunch of cash into play too, at some point you're like, well, how long are we going to stay here? Because
Well,
the
I'll give
difference
you a
in what
good
you're paying
scenario.
a month.
Let's say I'm a vet and I've done well. Maybe I'm retired officer, right? Got my pension, something like that. I got money. I've
Mhm.
bought and sold homes throughout my career, and I have an opportunity. I'm going to buy a thing cash, but I could assume a 2.75% interest rate.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll borrow
money.
money at sub 3%.
Cheap money.
No problem.
Yep.
Because I got my money working for me at 20%, right? Or how about like 6%,
Right.
right? But maybe it's 20% depending on the year,
Yep.
right?
So sometimes it's better to keep your powder dry and to have a little debt,
Sure.
like
yeah.
With a low interest.
Yeah.
Low,
Yeah.
exactly.
When you
So-
said that, Jim, I envisioned you not with a gunpowder cask or case, but like a makeup powder, like you know what I mean,
Your powder
like old
dry.
school, like a base
Yeah.
applicator. Sorry, just came to my mind. Sorry.
So let me see. Also want to do shout out to John and Lisa. John and Lisa came to us to do a loan. They saved a lot of money. Lisa's going to be good for the Hometown Heroes, but John is a brand new contractor, starting a brand new business. I'm excited for him because he's starting his own business. I love people that do that.
That's cool.
But right now, because he's starting his own business, no loan. Right? That's the bottom line. He's just starting out brand new. Luckily, he went to Mike and not wasted a lot of time. He was super happy. Like, he was happy that we were there for him, gave him the answers he needed. He was not upset. And actually, he found a really good opportunity, amazing opportunity for a short-term rental, like for 9 months to a year. Really good deal. Can't pass it up. He's going to stay there.
Did you help him find that, or he?
No, he just kind of looked into it. So
cool.
This guy's like one of the blessed guys. I like that. Lisa and John are kind of blessed.
Awesome.
So they're really looking forward to where they're moving to. And we've promised I'm going to reach out to him every month or so, a month and a half, and we'll keep going until about 3 months before his lease ends. Then we're going to get him back to Mike and see.
And we'll talk about, what his tax returns are going to look like, if it's at the Avenue, and then maybe it's something else as far as self-employed borrowers. So yeah, there'll be some. We're well out in front, which is exactly what we want. It's got the time to put certain things in place if they need to. We're going to consult on the various options and come up with a plan. So yeah, even though it's not ideal, you got to rent for a year.
But at least we have the plan. He's get going, and he knows he's going to be a first-time homeowner sooner than later. And let me tell you, that year, unfortunately, because I'm getting older, that year is going to go by so fast. Like, I'm sure a year from now, we're going to say, I can't believe. I know, it's crazy
already.
So, but anyway, thank you everybody who's working with us. All those people have reached out to us basically from this radio show. Hey, I listen to your show. I don't know if I should be calling you or not, but I got a question about real estate. Can you help me? Right. And then we just go through the whole thing and we figure it out for them. And
you do have that little aura of celebrity about you, Jim.
Oh, yeah.
People they're not sure how approachable you are in real life.
Yeah.
Right.
The ones that make me laugh really hard are the ones that say, I can't believe that you called me back. I left a message on the 888 hotline number, and you call me back like I'm some big shot where I have all these people take my calls, right? It's like, it isn't like that. So, but it is. Johnny knows. He says, like, that's hilarious.
I remember the first time, and it happened so many times. They're like, you have a Sharpie? And I'd hand them the Sharpie. They're like, no, sign this. So I'm like, you sure? You want me to sign your shirt?
Yeah.
Feels like it ruins it.
The only time I've been asked for autographs was when I was a journalist. A couple of times people asked me for autographs. I was so embarrassed. I was in my late 20s, and I'm like, what am I signing this for? I didn't want to.
You've been served.
Oh, and then really. I didn't want to. Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't do well with it either. Yeah. I'm like, why?
Yeah. What? I said no, but after it didn't happen a lot. It wasn't like happened a billion times. It's not right. But the few times I have, the first few times I was like, no. And then they would get mad at me. So then I just shut up. I was like, sure, you want my autograph? Okay.
I mean, the truth is Johnny is the closest to celebrity. Like you've been up on the stage in front of thousands of people,
or hundreds, maybe,
or hundreds of people and their kids and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's thousands if you add the hundreds plus the hundreds plus the hundreds, all the events you went to. Then it's thousands.
I think in this day and age, you can just make up any numbers you want.
We've done we've done. I probably the biggest I've stood in front of is probably like 6,000, maybe.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, you were up there announcing, emceeing or whatever,
bringing out acts and stuff.
Yeah.
So you weren't worried though, right? Do you get fear about it?
Before you step on stage, I'm a ball of nerves. But as soon as I'm up there and I got the mic, it is what it is. It's like when this thing goes live. You know what I mean?
I'm so like that too. It's like whatever happens now. Is that caller for us?
This mic's live.
Oh, okay.
What list does that make you? Is it the D-list celebrity?
Yeah. Like D- list.
D-. Okay.
But it's
it still look great.
Yeah, no, I think it's cool, but it's weird. We're just lucky to be on the radio. You know what I mean?
I know I am.
Yeah. I remember the first day we were coming down here, me and Rob, that was my original partner, Talk Real Estate with Rob and Jim.
Yeah.
And we were driving down here, and Rob was totally freaked out. We were up at, I say down here, it was going to Port St. Lucie. So we're driving on Port St. Lucie Boulevard East, and then we get to the traffic light where you can see the tower. And that was our first day. And he was freaked out, man. The whole time that we were driving up there, he was really freaked out. I mean, he was sweating and everything. I mean, really, he had anxiety.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anxiety at all because I'm stupid, right? And my attitude is, it's radio. As soon as it goes through the airway, it's never around. Nobody's going to hear it or anything. It's like nobody's going to even know it existed. It's like being a newspaper reporter. The newspaper is like the liner for the birdcage the next day, right? It's no good anymore.
So there is a little bit of reality to it, though, that you better do well, because if it doesn't do okay, you're not going to be able to do that for a long time.
Well, yeah,
right.
I was ready to let it go. Like if we totally bombed that first month or whatever, I was going to be okay with it. It was, to me, it would have been, hey, that was a life experience, and move on. I wouldn't have been like all embarrassed about it. But Rob, his attitude was, oh, I don't want to be embarrassed on the air and everything. I said, actually, it'd be funny.
I think it's embarrass worthy. Like nobody wants to listen. You're like, oh, well, that kind of.
Yeah, but to me, that would make me. I think it would make me
brag
laugh.
about that.
I think it would make me laugh. I would just think it's a really funny thing. It's like, what the heck was I thinking? Trying to be on the radio, right? That's what I would think.
Not one person listening. My mom didn't even tune in.
I think you figured out the.
She gave me a thumbs down.
He figured out the recipe, which is just if you pay the radio station, you can usually have
you can do anything.
There's ways around it.
It's true. I wanted to, let's go ahead. It's 9:31. So let's go ahead and take the break. On the flip side, what I'd like to do, and I think this is kind of interesting, is there was a new census data report that came out. Census Bureau, and I thought it was really interesting. It actually breaks down.
Oh, we'll find out what it is on the other side. How about that?
Who's coming in and who's coming into Florida, who's leaving Florida.
Perfect. A bunch of interesting data that we'll find out what's next. 4-minute reset. We get back at it. Always remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is .com, your one-stop real estate shop. Access to the entire team. Pros. These are experts in their field, and they work cohesively together. If you're buying a home, selling a home, you're stuck with a home, you don't know what to do, try to get yourself ready to be a homeowner, you need professional guidance. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. We're on Facebook and YouTube. Hit the like button, hit the share button. You can change lives, including your very own, with the pros of FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Live on this Saturday, 22nd day of August. We got Dorothy Jacks, Palm Beach County property appraiser, is going to be joining us a little bit later today. Interesting conversation coming up, and lots to get into. Stick around. You're always welcome to join us toll free at 877-927-6969. If you choose to dial in, we'll get to your call in 4 minutes. See you then, right here on Real Radio.
I can see clearly now.
The visual aid you need for all the freaky stuff we talk about on the radio. Find it at realradio921.com. Here's the latest with weather on Real Radio.
I'm meteorologist Charlotte Carl with CBS 12 News. It is going to be a nice and warm day. Under this nice sunny sky, we will continue to see temperatures climb. They'll get into the middle 90s this afternoon, feeling more like 108 degrees. We are going to see showers and storms developing west of I-95. They will drift back slowly towards the coastline and expand in coverage as they do.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Still sleeping on that old bed? Mattress Firm's sleep experts can help you choose the perfect upgrade. They'll guide you every step, answering your questions. Shop today and save big during the best sale of the year. They make sleep easy.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim Di Paola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
This is Real Radio 92.1 and 101.7. Real talk for the Palm Beaches and the Treasure Coast. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim Di Paola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Yeah, you can do it. Dial in 877-927-6969 if you want to be involved in the conversation at hand. If you have a question, comment, concern in the world of real estate, don't be shy. If you are, though, always remember Florida Talk Real Estate is a .com. Access to the entire team. Fill out the contact sheet there. There's a hotline you can call. Plenty of access on Facebook, YouTube. Consume away. Johnny C is me. Timothy's our producer extraordinaire. What's up, my dude?
Hello, and good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Mike Rauch, he's the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. He's right over there.
Yes, sir.
What's up, my dude?
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias. And of course, Jim Di Paola with the Florida Home Pros team, Keller Williams Innovations. That's our fearless leader. 14 plus years now, I've told you, he runs a top producing Keller Williams team. Jimmy D, how you be?
I'm doing good. I want to keep rushing through because we got Dorothy Jacks, Palm Beach County Property Appraiser, coming on in about 20 minutes.
Awesome.
So that'll be awesome.
We've been looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, I've been for weeks. We've been trying to make this happen, so I'm really glad it is. I'm looking forward. I think this is the third time Dorothy's been on our show.
I think you're right. I think this is the third time she booked, and I think the second time is in this building. I think she joined us in the Wild Studio once, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was the Wild Studio.
Yeah,
Yep.
when we were perched in the Wild Studio.
I remember one time it was when it was during COVID, so we were all remote. Yeah.
Right.
That's the one time I remember.
Yeah, with that horrible feed. Jimmy, she's out there right now.
Is she? Okay.
Yeah. Hold on here, Jimmy. If
he's good, he'll go get her.
Yeah, but I want her to take the call. Hold on here 1 second. Go ahead and talk.
Wait, no problem. We want to take the call.
Jimmy wants to take the call. This is not on air. This is super top secret, double secret.
I love when we do real things in real time.
It's you know what? Sometimes there are people coordinating all this stuff, and then sometimes it's you doing the coordination.
Sure.
And so it's one of those.
Sorry about that, guys.
Scenarios.
Sorry, that was Dorothy. The building's locked, so we have to get her into the building.
Okay.
And there's no way, you can't knock on the door in this building and think that you're going to get somebody to answer it.
You guys getting all the behind the scenes right now.
But the good news is she's here. She's showing up.
Sometimes I've actually taken rocks and threw it at the window.
The bad news, she's not listening.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might not know the radio station.
when I've been locked out, I've actually taken rocks and have to throw it at the window to try to get people to have come in. I know, but I've done that before.
So the worst is, and I've had to knock on that window. So I remember I came here, I was late for some reason, and I left my phone at home. So I literally I got here, and there was nothing I could do. I couldn't contact anybody else. I couldn't contact you guys. So I just like walked over and was like banging on.
And the windows are high. It's hard to bang on that window. They're pretty high up.
Yeah, if you.
But anyway,
I can't adjust it.
Please know I'm here.
Okay.
Fantastic. 877-927-6969. You can be a part of the show. Enjoy the chaos. Of course, if you're not comfortable on the radio, always remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
So Dorothy's in the house. We're going to get to her in just a little bit. Wanted to do something I thought was kind of interesting. They had this Census Bureau report that came out about who's moving where, and thought there was some really interesting stuff in here. Okay, so who would have known? St. Lucie County right now
Hot
is the 9th fastest growth. Oh, I'm sorry. Port St. Lucie is the 9th fastest growth city in the whole United States, not even just Florida. I thought maybe just Florida.
Crazy.
What kind of growth? Like a human population?
Yeah,
or
human
something
growth.
else?
No, not iguanas. So St. Lucie County added an estimated 10,857 residents, that's net, between July 1st, 2024 and July 1st, 2025.
You know why I wouldn't have guessed it?
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
You know why I wouldn't have guessed it and not even close to guessing it? Because we pay attention to the real estate market there. And nothing that's been happening there is indicating that a lot of people are moving there. So what it tells me is there was a lot of like vacant homes. I mean, was it just empty? Like we should be seeing if 10,000 new people are moving there, they
in a
gotta
year
move somewhere, right? I would think we'd see some kind of movement in the desirability of the properties there.
Jim,
what do you mean? Like, what do you mean by that, Johnny? I'm sorry.
It's been flat as hell there. I mean,
So
it's just.
Oh yeah.
Like housing prices haven't gone up.
Even
It
gone
hasn't been
down.
high
They've actually
demand.
gone down a little bit.
Inventories remained kind of what it is for our general area.
Yeah.
St. Lucie's always a little bit slower. Now he's talking specifically about the city.
Lucie.
10,000 people moved into that city in 1 year.
Well, 10,000
right?
moved into the county, and 9,000 of that 10,000 moved just to Port St. Lucie. So we had 10,000 net for the county, 9,000 for Port St. Lucie.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe that's just not enough to actually like move the needle. I don't know. It wouldn't have been anything I would have guessed, because again, we're just not seeing it in what we talk about every day. No indication at all that was the case. Would you agree?
Yeah.
You distracted.
Yeah, and I am a little distracted. I'm sorry, but yes, and you would expect that there would have been more like other things happening to attract people to the city. What's attracted people to St. Lucie County mostly right now is affordability, right? It's the cheapest median sales home price in the 6 county area. Well, not 6 county. Indian River, I think, has a lower price point than St. Lucie County for median home. Hey, Dorothy, we have Dorothy Jacks, the Palm Beach County property appraiser.
Are we doing this right now? Or
well,
are we
we're
doing
just going to say hello and say that what we're doing. So right now, what we're talking about, there's a Census Bureau report came out from July 2024 through July 2025, ranking where the growth is happening in South Florida and everything. I thought it was kind of interesting. So that's what we're talking about. So chime in if you want. If they have anything, please chime in. And then later in the show, we're going to get into the SAVE Act and all of my questions about millage rates and stuff like that. If you
we got a whole hour lined up.
Yes,
for you.
we have a whole hour with a real
welcome.
introduction and everything. But right now, chime in if you want.
If you are, just make sure we're talking in the mic so everybody
Yes,
can
of
hear
course,
you.
of course. Good morning. It's a pleasure.
Good morning, Dorothy. I'm so
Jim,
glad
do
to have you
those
there.
Other headphones or?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you pull them out? Did you pull them out?
We might as well make this transition now. We're going to get you all set up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get you headphones.
Great.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Great.
Get you on
I
there.
don't think Johnny. I'm sorry about that.
I don't want to touch anything.
The good news is we're not talking to anybody off radio, right? I mean, off the studio right now, so you hear everything.
Normally,
that's going on.
Dorothy, I'm sure you're used to having like a nice introduction and all this stuff. All of a sudden, you're just sat down and thrown into it here. I think we're a little off because we were right in the middle of talking about Census Bureau data.
Yeah.
Uh,
exciting stuff, right? Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
So,
Thank
Jim,
you.
let me ask you something. In St. Lucie County, how many transactions are there in a year? Like,
Let's see. So
You
you
know this.
probably figure,
it's like 10,000 ish, right? It's like
I don't know,
800 a month?
10,000. No.
800, 1,000 a month.
Yeah, I would say between 5 and 8,000 a month, a year.
A
5
year.
to 8,000 a year. Yeah.
And that's normal. Like a kind of a regular.
Now, I'm talking about single family homes, not the
Yeah.
whole thing, but
Yeah.
they're selling about 400 to 500
Which is
a
kind
month.
of like to Johnny's point, which is so if 10,000 people are moving in a year, like coming into St. Lucie,
Mhm.
like, do those numbers make sense? And that also, does that make it like a hot zone? Because who would have thought that the city of Port St. Lucie was, would you say top 10 for cities in the,
Number
in the
9.
US?
It's the number 9 for fastest growth.
What's number 1?
Doesn't say. It doesn't say in
fastest
here.
growth.
Fastest growth.
Fastest growth. So
Yep.
not like volume, but just like percentage of
And
change.
And St. Lucie
Interesting.
County right now has 400,000 residents in the whole county. Just to put that in perspective, Palm Beach County is 1.58 million. So it's pretty small compared to us right now. I was really surprised to see the 1.58 figure because that isn't much different than when I was a newspaper reporter back almost 20 years ago. I was surprised that the population hasn't increased that much. I thought we'd be at 2 million already because I haven't really kept track of it.
I would think
So
so,
I was
too.
a little surprised. I know Dade's at 2 million or close to 2 million.
Hmm.
So I thought we'd be there already and that Dade would be higher. So the growth hasn't been that much. Now, here's the other thing. West Palm, the growth hasn't been that strong at all. And it, everybody's thinking.
In that same year, you mean?
Yes. So Palm Beach County from 2024 through 2025 only added 1,600 residents, leaving its population flat at 1.58 million. So we only had 1,600 people during that year of 2024 to 2025, 1,600 net residents for the whole county.
And St. Lucie had 10,000.
I think
Mhm.
every single one of them moved out to Westlake because I'm gonna tell you what, all that traffic coming east.
Well, there's Avenir,
Oh, my goodness.
there's Westlake, there's what's the other? I guess like
Well,
I'm trying to think last year.
Arden's still growing.
Westlake, but is it?
Yeah, I think Arden's still developing.
They still
yeah.
have new
yeah.
homes. Okay.
Dorothy's shaking her head, so
Yeah.
I know that means yes.
Oh, the
You know,
volume coming. Oh, go ahead. I'm
The
sorry.
numbers that we see are that actually there is a number of people leaving Palm Beach County.
Yes.
So this is a metric of, there's probably a lot more than 1,600 coming in, but then they're taking the number that go out. And just our statistics around homestead and portability show us that people are leaving Palm Beach County and going to other places in Florida at probably a consistent rate with the arrivals to Palm Beach County.
This
So the
census-
net was only 1,600.
Yeah,
positive,
I
so,
suspect that's
okay.
what the number is.
Yeah.
It's the
so
net.
it's definitely the net, Dorothy. You're 100% right, and on top of it, they even take deaths and births.
Mm.
So they're very specific. It isn't just about who's moving and who's moving out. It's like how many people died and how many people were born, and
Yeah.
if there was a net increase or decrease because of that. And some of these cities had a net decrease based on births compared to deaths in the area. We're an older area for the state. Now, just to put in perspective, that 1,600 net increase for Palm Beach County from 2024 to 2025, the year earlier was 13,800. So it's a big drop, right? And I've been saying this for a long time on this show. It's like, we're not going through that boom anymore. What we're doing is it's a K-shaped economy, and there's still a lot of very wealthy people moving down here. I think you're right. I think I'm right about that. But the middle class is kind of being gutted right now, and they are. Dorothy's right. They are moving, and we have a lot of people moving to Central Florida for affordability. I have a couple right now moving from the acreage to Orlando just for affordability.
Yeah, I
Right.
think that's the affordability or just the pressure on the pricing.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly even the St. Lucie County figures being so high, a lot of working people in Palm Beach County are buying in St. Lucie because they can buy so much more
And commute.
then commute.
Yep.
And yeah, it's a hard commute and it's getting harder, but it's still, an hour.
And it's funny is that's kind of been the same story ever since I've been doing this,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like as far as
Well,
like
we
Been
bought
that way for a
Where's
while.
same thing. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
move up and commute. Whether you started down in Dade or Broward or Palm Beach, like it's kind of been that.
For what we bought in Royal Palm when we could have bought a McMansion in Port St. Lucie.
Yeah,
And we
Yeah.
were living in Port St. Lucie at the time. We were
Mhm.
doing the commute. And it was an easy decision. Our time is way more valuable. We like this house in Royal Palm.
that was 2014.
14.
Dorothy, were
yeah.
you the property appraiser in 2014?
No, 16.
But she's
But
been there 30
close enough.
Johnny
years.
knew you were
Yeah.
coming.
I was in the office for a long time before that,
Yes.
so I've been watching it for a long time. But just a short story. I have a colleague at work, and he lived in Wellington, and the drive and moved to Port St. Lucie because the drive was almost similar.
Mhm.
So the drive to work, meaning the going west to east in the morning, was about 40 minutes, and at the time going north or coming south from Port St. Lucie was about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Now it's gotten a little longer now, mainly because of Palm Beach County traffic, not further north. But he still said, if I can buy twice the house in Port St. Lucie and not have the same commute,
Mhm.
then why wouldn't I?
I
Well,
used to
it's
have
the
that
same
commute.
amount
I
of
was
time.
driving Royal Palm to the Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard, right? And that's 30 to 45 minutes, kind of depending on which day of the week and what time.
For sure.
When
I'm
I
so
go,
lucky. I work from home now most of the time. I was out yesterday. My youngest moved in for her sophomore year at FAU, so I had to go to Boca and back. I'm a miserable, not road rage, but I definitely get irritable with the way the traffic is right now. So I'm like, I'm not cut out for the commute anymore. It's just I can't handle it.
And fortunately for you, because there's so many people out there right now, and it's August 22nd. It's not even season.
Yeah,
It's not even season.
but school started.
School.
Yeah. I didn't notice a whole lot of difference with school.
Oh, no,
in my route.
yeah.
In my route, at least.
well, I drive 2,400 miles a month, right?
Yeah.
A month,
Get you
right? For
But you
real. I
avoid
cover
rush
6
hours.
counties, right? I cover Indian River down to Dade, Dorothy. So I'm used to all these commutes. So when I'm going up to Port St. Lucie, now when I say Port St. Lucie, I mean exit 142 on the turnpike, that part of Port St. Lucie, I budget 45 minutes. If I'm going up to the Fort Pierce area, that exit, I'm adding another 15 minutes or so to get up there.
Easy.
So and I got to time it all out because I got to meet people all the time.
Is it really driving though, Jim? Because you have.
I know. I got
like
Elon
auto.
driving me. I
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Jimmy, do we want to take these?
Actually, we do want to take Jay's call. He called in and wanted to ask. Now, earlier you touched on about veterans selling to veterans,
Mhm.
and he's got a question related to that. So let's
Okay,
get
good.
Jay on the air with us. Jay, welcome to Florida Talk Real Estate.
Thank you.
Hey.
Hey, Jay, what's up?
Oh, I just was thinking about maybe selling my home. I'm 100% total permanent disabled veteran.
Mhm.
I pay no taxes. I live in Wellington. And like I say, I'm considering maybe putting my house on the market sometime in the future, not the immediate future. But listening to you between 9 and 9:30 on your show, you brought up something about this. There's going to be ticker shock for somebody who wants to buy my home.
Well, that's
Find
true
out
unless
that they're
another
gonna have
disabled
to-
vet buys it, and that's what's happening up in Port St. Lucie that we talked about. It's a disabled vet, so that will help with the taxes, right?
Well,
Mike?
I think to Jay's point, so we were talking about VA loans that are assumable. So Jay, I don't think you have a VA loan that's assumable, so it's a little different scenario. But as it relates to the property taxes specifically, Jay, your circumstance is one of those where we would estimate what the taxes are going to be. And so usually when you're qualifying for a mortgage, most of the time, and I said this earlier, right, Johnny? Remember I did the little caveat. Most of the time we're using the existing tax bill for qualifying purposes. And then I talk to people about, okay, this November, next November, essentially, here's what you can anticipate what it's going to look like, and I explain why. And so Jim does the same thing. We talk to people so that they realize that if we see something that's going to be a major change, we're going to make them aware of it. When it comes to, Jay, if you were selling your home and you had a buyer and I had them pre-approved and I saw the taxes where basically your dollar amount is the non-ad valorem dollar amount,
Mhm.
Less than $1,000 a year, I would say, wait a second, what is that? I would go to Dorothy's website and I would say, what's going on? And I would see the 100% exemption. I would say, okay, now we need to calculate. We're going to use their tax estimator at a certain level and anticipate what that bill is going to be for you, so that you're not qualified way out of your
I just want to give a to Dorothy, and I'm not kissing her butt, but she has the best property appraiser website. I cover 6 counties, so I'm on them all the time. And your website is the best to do portability, tax changes, the tax calculator and the portability calculator. I really, really like that. Some of the other ones, they're very difficult to use. They're hard to find. I just really like, I just like that property website that you have the best.
I look at it. I'm sorry, Aaron, I look at them a lot. I have all the property appraisers bookmarked here. I can access it. And I agree. Palm Beach County's site is very, very easy.
Thank you. And I would just say to Jay too, surprisingly, it's about timing also. If you're thinking about, if you are a disabled vet and you're eligible for 100%, if you sell toward the end of the year and buy toward the end of the year, then you can apply for your benefits on your new home for the next year. So you will in effect go from nothing to nothing. And also keep an eye, you mentioned non-ad valorem assessments. Keep an eye out for wherever you're moving to, look up their tax bill and look at the non-ad valorem assessments, because veterans, unfortunately, are not eligible for an exemption on those. You're only getting it on the ad valorem millages. So it's important that you look and see that you're not buying in a home where there's $2,500 a year in non-ad valorem assessments. And there are plenty of those in Palm Beach County and even in other counties nearby. So just something to keep an eye on. Just timing. It's all about where are you on January 1st and applying for that new exemption on your new home for January 1st. For the new year, we'll have no tax on your old home and then no tax on your new home once you qualify.
And if he doesn't time that right, Jay is kind of in for a payment shock of his own, because that if he doesn't own it on January 1st, when November comes of that year, he's paying the old owner's tax situation, right? Like their configuration.
Yeah, the prorated amount for the whatever he owns.
Yeah.
So buying a home in say November or December would let him only pay a prorated amount of the new home he's bought for the 1 or 2 months, and then immediately get his benefit for the next year.
Yeah.
That's a good tip. I didn't even think about that. I'll use that tip for my customers later. That's really good.
But the non-ad valorems, he's always paying 100%.
Yeah, and just keep an eye on those because they can be big.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we put in like an amendment 4, maybe we deal with the non-ad valorem. I think Dorothy needs a proper introduction here.
Well, we're going to do that in just 3 minutes. Yes. So you should finish up the demographics, the Census Bureau stuff, and we'll go from there.
Jay,
just to give you,
we appreciate your phone call, and thank you for being with us, my friend. Any other questions?
Yes, I wanted to ask Dorothy, how would this affect the new buyer?
Yeah, so your new buyer who buys your home will only get the benefit of your exemption for the remainder of whatever year is left. So, for instance, it's interesting because I bought a home from a 100% disabled vet, and I bought it in November, so I received 2 months of no taxes in the proration of the home I purchased. But come January 1st, of course, it popped up to normal taxes on my new home.
Yeah.
So, so the buyer, depending on what time of year, again, that you sell, the buyer will have the benefit of your exemption, as it were, for the remainder of the year, and then it will change over. In other words, it'll go away. And that's where the calculator comes in really handy, is using the calculator on the website to work out what the taxes are going to look like for that buyer.
So the real benefit is for qualifying purposes for the buyer on that property.
Well, and there's also a tax advantage. So if that buyer bought in February, for example, they're basically going to have the whole year
right.
at Jay's discounted taxes.
Yeah, as long as Jay didn't take his exemption. For instance, if Jay bought another home before that February, like bought it in the prior November, and just was in the process of getting moved and so forth, and hadn't quite sold his home, his benefit goes with him to wherever he goes. And so in that case, the benefit would come off.
And also, or if you wanted to really stick it to somebody, you can call your office and say, hey, remove my exemption, right? Can you do that?
You can.
Yeah,
sure.
so
it's your exemption.
You can technically remove it. And then the person who's like, oh, I'm going to advantage of Jay's situation, they're going to have a surprise in that November. So, sorry.
Mike has a weird sense of humor.
Maybe we should put a restriction on that.
Yeah, maybe. Jay,
Amendment 5.
I appreciate you tuning in very much, and I hope those answered your questions, my friend.
I have one more question.
Quickly.
To Dorothy, my exemption is renewed automatically.
Yes.
What's your question?
Does that mean that January 1st I have to be registered?
No, it will renew automatically at your current home. If you move is when you've got to reapply.
Right.
Oh, and you have to do that prior to January 1st?
No, you can do it up until March 1st of the new year, but you have to be living there on January 1st.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That clarifies.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot.
You're
Sure,
welcome.
Jay. Thank you
Jay.
so much.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
877-927-6969. We have an hour. We will invite some conversation with Dorothy Jacks. We have a lot to get into, and an hour is going to be very well spent. Should be very educational. Lots of information coming at you when it comes to the realities of what we may be facing when it comes to reducing property tax in Palm Beach County, potentially from the professional perspective. Of course, you'll be welcome to join us. Always remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is .com. If you need access to the team of pros that you will find, to click away. Do that. Click away on Facebook, on YouTube. Consume. Hit the share button. Hit the like button. You can change lives, including your very own, with the pros of FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. That's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. 4-minute reset. We're back at it. Thanks for being with us every Saturday live, 22nd of August. We got an hour remaining right here on Real Radio.
Because you shouldn't have to get up off the couch. Tell your smart device to play Real Radio 92.1 on iHeartRadio. Real Radio weather.
I'm meteorologist Charlotte Carl with CBS 12 News. It is going to be a nice and warm day under this nice sunny sky. We will continue to see temperatures climb. They'll get into the middle 90s this afternoon, feeling more like 108 degrees. We are going to see showers and storms developing west of I-95. They will drift back slowly towards the coastline and expand in coverage as they do.
This report is sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone. Starting stronger starts at AutoZone, where they've got battery solutions in the form of free battery testing, free battery charging, and replacement. Batteries that fit your needs. That's what makes them America's #1 battery destination. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim Di Paola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowner's insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
From the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station.
Make us the #1 preset on your car radio and on the free new and improved iHeartRadio app. Listen for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim Di Paola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. 877-927-6969. Questions, comments, concerns. Want to be involved in the conversation you hand? If you dial in, the first voice you hear, melodious tones of our producer extraordinaire. There's Timothy. What's up, my dude?
Hello, and good morning.
Good morning. Johnny C, that's me, your old buddy, your old pal. Of course, we got Mike Rao, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm, right? I'm like, oh,
That's right. Good morning, everyone. Hello.
If you don't believe me, you can join the live streams. We're on Facebook and YouTube. Cameras are set up in here for a reason, so they can see your pretty face, Mike.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
I didn't know that was the prime reason,
That's
but
at least what I've been told.
all right.
They're like, hey, we got
I'll
to put a
take it.
camera in your face. I was like, why? They're like, so they can see Mike's pretty face. I was like, it makes no sense, but okay.
All right.
On Facebook, on YouTube, that's Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook, Florida Talk Real Estate LLC on YouTube. Join us if you'd like. Thanks for being there, Mike.
Thank you.
Of course, our fearless leader, 14 plus years now, I've told you he runs a top producing Keller Williams team, the Florida Home Pros team with Keller Williams Innovations, also on camera in a very pretty face. Jimmy D, how you be? There's Jim Di Paola.
Liar, liar, liar. How you doing? How you doing? Happy
gonna
South
say, wait.
Florida, everybody.
Jim's. It's like the Seinfeld where like the baby's breathtaking, or no, Elaine's breathtaking, and then he,
And he says everybody's
about the ugly
breathtaking,
baby
ugly
too.
baby.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a second. All right.
And we have been very, very excited for this day to come. We've been teasing it, hoping and praying for schedules to come together. Joining us for what we believe the third time in our show's existence, the Palm Beach County Property Appraiser, Dorothy Jacks, is with us. And thank you for being with us on a Saturday in
I
studio.
appreciate the applause.
Also on camera, by the way, and a very pretty face.
Oh, actually, we need to adjust her camera slightly to
okay.
your left.
My left or your left?
To her left. So
Other
A little
way?
bit more, just a little bit more.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
Nice.
Thank
There we
you.
go.
Thank
now
you.
she's right in the middle.
There's Dorothy.
There.
Probably the best
You can
smile.
hire me.
Probably the best smile in the studio right now. I'm telling you.
Yep.
Yeah.
We got a production member now. So there we go. Got a production
Put her
crew.
to work.
Johnny, and I apologize because I know you would have done this better, but I'm so disorganized, so I apologize. I'm going to do a little bit of background about Dorothy.
Oh,
I should have
sweet.
just sent it to you and had you say it.
No problem.
You would have done better. So sorry, Dorothy, but I'm going to
We
give you a
could
little
test-
background.
We could test Johnny just kind of off the cuff. Johnny, what do you got?
Yeah. What do I got?
Yeah.
In regards to,
Introducing Dorothy, a little bit of her
I just
her
gave-
curriculum.
I gave you the best that I got.
Okay.
Oh, I can tell you that she's been in her position since 2016.
2016.
Yes.
But working behind the scenes for much longer.
30
Right,
years.
We got that.
30 years in Palm Beach County Property Appraisers. Sorry, I don't want to date you, Dorothy, but that's a really good run. That's a very good run. Elected in 2016 to be the property appraiser, re-elected ever since. She has served at every level in the property appraiser's office. Under her leadership, her office earned international recognition for assessment for excellence and modernization, We're talking about the website, right? Including the development of the indispensable PAPA public access portal that homeowners and agents use every single day. That's the website we use. Just wanted to say one thing about that portal. Martha, who is a realtor who listens to the show quite a bit, she had a question that I think is a great idea. Is there any chance that the property appraiser is going to put on the permit stuff on the property stuff, like the permits that have been pulled?
Yeah, it's a great question. The problem we have with it is, of course, the permits aren't ours. They're, they're the cities and the county, and we are getting them now electronically from the cities. So there might be a chance of doing it, but we hate to sort of walk onto other people's territory. I know that's crazy. And, we did look for a while at linking from our record to the city or the county's record. The problem is every city in the county have a different system. So it would require a lot of, just a sort of one by one handling of I hate to say it, 39 cities we have and the county, and trying to get them all to link up to our system the way we'd want it to.
And I've run into that when I was a rookie, early years of doing loans, and somehow it's like, okay, well, this house, when did they do the roof, or, something like that. And I would go to, Palm Beach County permit search, and I'm looking, and it's a dead end. It's like no records. It's like, well, wait a second. You got to get into then City of West Palm, or, Royal Palm has their own permitting office. So yeah, I could see the complication there, getting the data. Interesting. Yeah. Although other counties do it.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of counties, again, they're not hit with the mass that we have with that many cities.
Amount of like they don't have that many cities.
I mean, we have more cities by far than any other county. I think the closest to us is Broward with 31 cities. So we just have a lot of different government entities that we're working with. And, again, it's their record, and we want to allow them to sort of be the owner, be the custodian of their own record. But we do, of course, have links through to the tax collector, so you can go and look at your bill, and links through to the clerk of courts, which is very useful. You can look at the deed at the deed level. Those are sort of agreements we have with them. But you are actually leaving our site and entering their site, which is kind of, again, what we talked about doing with the permitting. We can look at it again. Technology is amazing. It just changes so quickly that you could look at something 5 years ago and then look at it today, and it's completely changed.
I mean, especially over the past 2 years, right?
Yeah.
It's
the way
really
things are
crazy
moving.
now.
Yeah.
There's this one search engine now when you're doing searches for properties, like, on those portals like Zillow and Trillium and all that. There's this one company now where you don't have to, when you're searching on those websites, you don't have to use the keyboard anymore. You talk to it. You say, hey, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in Lake Worth for $500,000. They give you the list of the properties. Then you go, oh, I only want open kitchen concept, open floor kitchen concept. And they'll give you, and they'll narrow it down to that. Then you go, oh, I only want white kitchens, like white cabinetry, right? And you're not even touching your keyboard, and it's just talking to you back and forth to find those properties. Is that crazy?
I think it's moving that way across the board. Like we're going to have like, hey, pull up, can you show me the permit history in my house or this house? And it's going to like spit it out pretty quickly.
Eventually it'll get there.
Yeah.
And hopefully accurately.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I want obviously the big thing everybody wants to talk about is Amendment 3, which is the SAVE Act. And I don't even know how they came up with that acronym because it's very hard. I don't even know what this SAVE stands for anymore. But the concept behind this is the Florida legislature, by a great majority in the House and the Senate, passed a referendum that's going up for a vote in November, where they want to try to eventually eliminate property ad valorem property taxes for homesteaded properties. And the first thing they want to do is raise the 50,000 homestead exemption to 150,000, and then do it again the next year to 250,000. And then after that, they were hoping, they don't have a plan, but they say the intent is to try to get it up to 500,000. And I think at 500,000, I think that's 92% of all the homesteaded owners in Florida would not have to deal with that. explain that correctly, Dorothy? Because your face looks concerned.
Yeah, there's a little more nuance to it.
Okay.
The big nuance is that it doesn't affect the school board taxes at
That's
all.
right.
So this concept of eliminating property taxes is pretty much off the table unless we vote again to eliminate school board tax, because the school board millage is about a third of everyone's tax bill in Palm Beach County. And so we all pay 6 mils to the school board, and if that isn't going away, then property taxes aren't going away. The other important note is that possibly across Florida, 92% of our homeowners would not pay tax if eventually it got to 500,000. Again, we'd still pay on the school board, and I'm not sure that that's necessarily a good number for Palm Beach County. We have a lot of homes in Palm Beach County. And I don't just mean the island and the high-end real estate. I mean people who are living in the GL Homes communities in the West and we talked earlier about Avenir and Arden. All those homes are in the sort of 800 plus range. Even in just nice areas like North Palm Beach and Tequesta, you wouldn't be able to buy a home for less than sort of 600,000 to 800,000. So even at 500,000, and no elimination of the school tax, you're looking at there would still be a property tax bill.
We've Johnny and I have talked about that just with our own homes. We both live in Palm Beach County. Both have had homes homesteaded since 2013 ish, and I think I've looked at both of them, and our bills would be cut in about half. Right, so you leave the school tax, you leave the non-ad valorem taxes, and it's maybe you're going from like $5,000 to $2,500 a year, something like that. And as that's probably representative of a good amount of homes in our county, or I don't know what percentage, but what are you giving up for that $2,500 a year of savings? And that's kind of always been in the back of my mind, thinking about where am I on this issue. Now I know there's homes like Jim you just bought, so your bill is going to be what, $8,000-9,000? You think this
it's going from 3,800 to 7,600.
Okay, so yours would probably be more than half, be cut in more than half?
No, because it's really a flat amount.
Because he's still 6 mils on the assessed value. Okay,
and it's still a flat amount. It's at the moment it'll be 150,000 in 27, and 250,000 in 2028, and then it is discussed that it'll be indexed to inflation after that, which isn't very much. On 250,000, it'll go up, a couple thousand, maybe a year.
But with the goal of basically having an exemption equal to your assessed value, right? Like that's kind of like the long-term goal. So
certainly. And long-term homeowners in Palm Beach County and all over Florida who have a good cap from the 3% cap, they've been homesteaded for a long time. They may not pay anything other than the school tax their first couple of years. The question will become what happens to the millage rates. And as values go up over time, which they do here, higher more than inflation in Palm Beach County, as values go up, they'll be paying on anything over that 250, or if it's scaled up to say by then like 270,000 or something, they're still going to pay on anything that they have above that number.
Yeah.
And then you have the millage rate issue.
So I think if I were to summarize, sorry, Jim.
That's okay.
But one thing is, it's a misnomer if you think that you're eliminating property taxes,
big time,
right? So there's going to be school tax, there's going to be non-ad valorem taxes, and there's going to be a percentage that is not exempt that you'll be paying the full millage rates across the spectrum of wherever those taxes are going.
Absolutely. It's important. That's probably the biggest message I can send, is that this is a tax reduction. No question, tax reduction. Everybody who is homesteaded will be getting a lower tax bill if it passes. However, it's not an elimination.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah. And I have two questions related to the bill that maybe you can help answer. Me and Mike were confused about this 5-year residency thing. If you're a Florida resident now and you don't buy before the beginning of this year, and you buy 2 years from now, 2 years after the referendum passed, would you be able to do the full homesteading under the way the referendum is written, or do you have to wait 5 years too? Or is it just for people from out of state moving to Florida that have to wait the 5 years? We weren't sure about that.
Is that even clear?
So it's not clear. In
Ah.
fact, interestingly, not even clear to us, the property
Oh.
appraisers. We're waiting for, if it passes, enabling legislation in January, February next session, hopefully to clarify this. Now, what we would think would be the fairest thing is that if you can show that you've been a Florida resident for the last 5 years, then you would qualify for the higher amounts.
The
Meaning,
first year of the step up, like
right.
go from 50 to 150.
Right. If you can prove that for the last 5 years you've been a Florida resident. So that would allow our renters who are transitioning to home ownership. It would allow our kids, people who have adult kids who are looking to buy a home, who have been Florida residents for their whole lives, to qualify for this. That's what we would think would be the right thing, the fairest thing to do. Now, again, I wish I could tell you today that's how it's going to work, but that hasn't been defined yet.
Because they've only talked about Florida residency. They haven't talked about.
Well, they keep the language we've seen so far keeps using the terms homesteading and Florida residency interchangeably, and they're not interchangeable.
You need both.
Right. I mean, homesteading is something an action you take to apply for a benefit that you then get because you're a Florida resident. But you can be a Florida resident without being a homesteader. You can be a renter.
Absolutely.
You can be a kid who lives here. You can be lots of things. You could be living with your girlfriend and be a Florida resident. You just are. So there's two different things, and the problem so far is the language we've received isn't clarifying which of those this 5-year rule applies to. Now, certainly, no question, if you are moving here from New York on February 15th, 2027, you are not going to be eligible for these higher amounts. You will homestead, because you must homestead for 5 years before you get the stepped up amounts, but you would get the 50,000, which is what we all get today.
That's right.
And so let's assume that somebody they've done their 5 year. Is it always going to be a graduated escalation? So it's basically 50, then 150, then 250?
No, again, this is also something that's unclear, but in our impression, it will be whatever the amount is that year that the 5 year ends. So presumably it will be at least 250,000. And it will be whatever it has stepped up for inflation by that 5 year point. Do you see?
So the step up is really just as they're implementing it. In the long run, you're going to get the max exemption allowed the first year that you're allowed to get it.
Yeah, it'll be a sort of have and have not thing, right? You'll be in those 5 years at 50,000, and then you would jump up. I will point out too that this whole idea will probably be challenged in the courts if it passes, because we have had before a suggestion, this was 20, 30 years ago, that maybe even longer, that there would be two classes of resident. There's if you've been here a while, you get a bigger homestead than if you haven't. And the courts threw it out and said that it's unconstitutional to have two classes of resident. You're either a resident or you're not.
I was just talking to Chris, my team member, a couple of days ago, and I was saying that I'm not even sure this is going to stick. That part of it's going to even stick, which is a big thing, because the reason why they're putting that into the language of the amendment is that if they don't do something about that, there's a chance that we're going to have a rush of people down here and just create super high inflation for property values going through. It could make the COVID thing look like that COVID boom we had. And that isn't the whole intent of what they're trying to accomplish right now.
Can I ask just procedurally, because I don't even understand this. So is the amendment meant to be in its final form by the time we're voting on it? So that one thing is they're adjusting the language so that it's a clear summary of what we're doing.
Right.
And that's essentially what the voters are going to see. Mm-hmm. But is the amendment, the constitutional language, is that going to be finalized by the time we're voting? Or it's kind of like, the idea is what we're voting on, and then we'll figure out how to implement it down the line.
So the language of the ballot summary, which is now changed, is now back on the judge's desk, who demanded that it be changed. Mm-hmm. The Attorney General changed it and has written a much more comprehensive ballot for the that will appear on the November ballot. Now that probably will get approved by the judge sometime very soon, and that will be what appears on the ballot.
And the changes they made kind of made sense, right? Like they followed the instruction of the judge and they made it much more factual as opposed to
the
emotional.
initial language was somewhat misleading. It talked about save our homes from excessive tax when really we can't promise anybody that because, again, it's an exemption. It's an increased exemption. It's not an elimination. And there was some other things in there, such as that it talked about being good for small businesses, but yet there is no element of it. There is a change in the 10 cap to 5 cap, but that's not necessarily something that's going to be great for small businesses. So there was that's been taken out, and it's now a much more factual, albeit confusing read. I will say that. I mean, I really, these things aren't easy to explain. And to try to explain them simply so that somebody can follow it when they're reading their ballot, it's going to be tough. But there we are. Is
this going to be one of those? And I'm sorry to interrupt. One of these weird ones where a yes means no and a no means yes.
No, luckily not that.
Okay,
it'll
good.
be very much. If you want to have this benefit, if you're a person who's going to qualify for it, then yes will mean yes, and no will mean no. So if you understand the implications for your local taxing authorities, but the point is that the implementing legislation, which will occur next session in the January-February timeframe, 2027, will be much more telling about how it will actually work. I mean, the larger things are sussed out, but these smaller things that we've been talking about will be explained as to how they will actually work.
So we're voting on the concept and then hoping that they get the details right based on what we thought we were voting on. Right? So what are the chances of that happening? Johnny?
I mean, you do have to put a lot of faith. Yes.
Well, one of the things that's always kind of bothered me about the lack of information of how this is actually going to work is they keep saying, look, we're going to protect our schools and you can't defund the police and the fire, but then they just say that the other services, and they just, in the media, and I'm not beating up the media, I used to be part of media, but they don't go into great detail what those services that might be at risk. So I did a little research just to give you an idea of what programs might be on the chopping block. I'm not saying any of these will, because each municipality is going to have to decide how they're going to do this. But just to give you an idea of some things, we know about like parks and rec centers, but also like the community centers. Like in Boynton Beach, there's the Azell Center where hundreds and hundreds of kids go there every single week. It's almost like an after-school program to keep the kids off the streets and keep them engaged. Maybe Boynton Beach wouldn't be able to afford that anymore, right? Public libraries, code enforcement and planning. I didn't even think about this. A lot of times code enforcement, because I've been through in the 80s when we had really bad fiscal problems around the whole, the country. Those were some of the operations that they always cut back on and laid those people off. I actually thought that they would actually beef up code enforcement just because it's a way to grab money, for the code enforcement. But code enforcement in the planning department, right? That could be affected. Social and community services like the Meals on Wheels for seniors and people at risk and stuff like that. That might have to go away if there's no more money. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just saying these are
the things that will be sacrificed potentially.
Yeah, there's always winners and losers when you're messing around with the tax bill.
Maybe
so you
Dorothy,
just have to understand.
Do you know, so instead of like individual line items, like overall, or maybe you're getting there?
Let me just go over a couple, because it isn't just that. There's a lot of other things that people might not even consider.
I'm curious, like how much money you're less you're going to be working with overall.
Yeah,
like just from an overall
she has that answer because
okay.
I've seen interviews with her, but I have some of the stats here too. But let me just finish these other two subjects. So that's more like government services. Then you have the county services and the health department, all the special districts and the safety net healthcare for the independent districts, the Children's Services Council, and the hospital districts. Let me tell you, if you ever dive into the Children's Services Council, because a lot of people don't even know what that group is, they deal with dozens and dozens and dozens of different types of services that they give that you don't even realize that are out there until you need the services or you're a volunteer are working in that area. But that could be at risk. County jail and court support. Yeah, they're going to protect the police, the people on the road, but county jail and court support is handled differently. And that might get weaker. Mosquito control and animal services. These are like county and health stuff.
The biggest, I'm looking at my bill, my biggest individual item is county operating. So the schools, there's 2 different school ones that are about 6. County operating is 4 mills or no,
Yes.
4.5 mills. What's county operating?
So county operating is all county services. So everything Jim just mentioned, code enforcement, the building department, the people who handle animals, me, the clerk of courts, that's handling. You're also paying for the jails, and you're paying for the roads,
road maintenance, storm water,
emergency management. And then there's a lot of special programs. There's the programs for housing to try and help people get housed. And on and on and on. I mean, there's a lot of county services that we don't even sort of tangibly think about. But I think the code enforcement's a great example because, today, if you live in a community and, just a set of homes and the guy next door, parks a truck on blocks, right? You can call code enforcement and they'll come out and they'll say, look, sir, you can't park your truck on blocks, or they're letting their grass grow so high that you can't pull out of your driveway.
His sunbathing in the backyard, right?
He can do that, but I mean, there's a lot of.
Oh, you scared me there for a minute.
But there's a lot of things that code does, that are safety related. Things like the roof. There's a hole in the roof of the house next door, and the house is full of rats. I mean, things like that are a code enforcement issue, and that's a central part of government that you're able to call. The other thing I think about is the roads. So, we get these massive storms here and you'll get a pothole develop literally overnight, from a rain that's just dug up the asphalt. And somebody has to come out and fill that so that you don't blow out your tire. I've done that before.
There's also
that's the county.
Landscaping, beautification, like all
the
the
median
irrigation
strips. The median strips. The reason it aggravates me no end when they let the bushes get high and you can't see around them. And you can't see the car coming at you. Well, things like that. Those are all maintained by the county or the city.
We've got the like Wellington down as you get towards City of West Palm, like the crepe myrtle project that they did over however many years. Like those trees are just so beautiful in the summertime. And how did that project happen? Right, like they had some funding to do it. I know you're not into budgeting, Dorothy, but would you say that all the whole umbrella there you just mentioned, are those departments generally overfunded? Like, did they have too much money? Like they just got too much money, or is it the opposite, or is it kind of just right?
I'm not the budgeting person, so I really can't speak to their budgets. I can speak to my own. My budget hasn't gone up more than 4% in any year, and the reason it even goes up at all is the costs go up. The software we use to run Papa, it's not free. It's there's a cost to it. The software we use to do the mass valuation costs us $500,000 a year to renew. And it used to be pre-COVID, we would get a 3% a year increase. We're now getting a 10% a year increase. So all our tools are costing a lot more. And then if you take that to other governments who are doing things like filling the potholes, well, the materials to fill the potholes, we all go to Home Depot. We know how much things cost, how much more they cost. Even plants. I mean, I'm a big gardener and I go to Home Depot and I'm amazed at how much they want now for a little baby plant that 4 years ago cost 99 cents, now costs $4. And so the government's buying plants too. This is something that people forget, is that government is also a purchaser of a lot. Government buys a lot of fuel. There's another good example. I mean, gas is the price of gas. And so whenever we see costs go up, it's not just going up for us in our homes, it's going up for government as well. I mean, the Children's Services Council, they probably buy food for some groups. I mean, food is expensive. The schools buying eggs, they buy eggs, they feed a lot of kids. So you have to think through that government doesn't just happen for free. And people in government are truly doing a public service. It's not, an easy job in many cases. I mean, can you imagine being a code enforcement officer and having to deal with the people?
Have you in your own department, like you've been there 10 years now as the head, right? The property appraiser. Had there been, because one of the arguments is like because property tax, because the market value of homes and assessed value of homes have really gone up, right, significantly. There's been a lot of money kind of pouring in. In your 10 years, have you had a year where you're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? This opens up opportunities. We can now pursue this. We can do this. Like this pet project we've been putting off. Like, have you had moments where it's like, okay, now we can finally do this thing that we wanted to do? Or is it always tight? You're always shuffling. You're always just trying to prioritize where the dollars go.
In my office, we're always shuffling and trying to figure out, okay, we'll work on this project for the next 3 years. And then after that, we'll purchase our new servers that we need in the 3 years after that. And then, so I'm always looking to time things so that we're not overspending our budget. I'll give you for instance, we have just finished modeling our condominiums across Palm Beach County. So this is actually drawing the condominiums in their stacks so that fairly soon, probably in the next 2 years on Papa, you'll be able to look at a 3D rendering of a condominium anywhere in Palm Beach County. That was an expensive project to do, but I felt it was something that we needed for our valuers to be able to have that data. It's very helpful that you're able to see what the view is from a condominium. You're able to look spatially at are our values all in line going up and down the building and across the building. When people call us about condos constantly, they're always like, well, the guy below me is paying more. We can now very quickly just, click on the guy below them because we've got it visually referenced, things like that. And for me, it was, look, this is going to cost some money, but we're going to get this amazing product at the end that the taxpayers can use. My end goal was always, let's get these to the point where we can use them to do a better job valuing condos, which is what we're doing today, but also allow the public to be able to use that same
tool. That would
tool.
be a great feature. Right. That would be an amazing feature for the public too. I just want to go over just a couple of other things that people might not think about, and then I want to talk about, if it does passes, what are some of the options? We're going to talk about the numbers and then what would happen. So like public schools, here's an interesting fact. Schools are protected, right? Yes, but not school resource officers. That's a separate, they're billed under a separate thing. So that would mean that possibly less police in the schools, right? Not a good thing. Crossing guards and traffic safety for schools. That's under a different budget. So those aren't protected, right? So then you find out that your kids drive, maybe the school crossing guard isn't there for a major intersection when your kid's trying to go to school every day.
What about busing? Is that under the school?
I think
budget?
busing is under under that
And
budget,
the
I'm pretty
maintenance
sure.
for those buses?
Yeah, that's under the school board's millages. But I'll give you two more examples. Lifeguards. Lifeguards are under Palm Beach County.
Yeah.
So are park police. So when you go to Dreher Park and you walk around, the security guards that are walking around, they're paid for by the county. Not to mention the people that clean the bathrooms. I mean, the layers of county funded activity that we just forget about. You go out to Okeechobee Park and it's the most beautiful park. You ride your bike through that. You ride your bike through that park. Well, why are the paths clear so you can ride your bike? Because somebody's been out there cleaning them. So there's things like that. And certainly the idea has come up, well, okay, then maybe we'll just start charging for those things, So
you switch it from a ad valorem category to I thought about that. Road maintenance is a very simple example. Switch it to non-ad valorem and you collect it that way.
Well,
right?
yes. So
or are they prohibiting activity like that within
Well,
this
they're
amendment?
not prohibiting it at the moment, although this move to fund from the non-ad valorem side has been happening for years. There's been a lot of shuffle from regular operating millages over to the non-ad valorem districts. You've probably seen it. But, non-ad valorem assessments aren't necessarily the greatest thing in the world either. And they also can't generate the same amount of revenue unless they're enormous. And then what's the trade-off, right? What's the trade-off on the other side?
Can you just could you just explain to the public the difference between ad valorem, not ad valorem?
Absolutely. So ad valorem means of value. It's Latin for of value, and it means that the tax is based on the value of the property. So ad valorem is your millage-based taxes, the ones we all are pretty familiar with, your city, your county, your school, the Florida Inland Navigation District, the Water Management District, the Healthcare District, the Children's Services Council. Those are all a millage times the taxable value of your home equals your tax. A millage is $1 for every $1,000 of value. So what that equates to is if you have a $500,000 taxable value, you're probably paying $10,000 in taxes. Okay, so you just can do the math. You can take your taxable value, take off the last three zeros, and multiply it by one, and then by the millage, which for most people the millage ranges from 18 mils to around 24 mils. So depending on where you live in the county, some cities have a lot higher millage rate than others. I live in the city of West Palm Beach. We have a pretty high millage rate. It's over 8. If you live in Boca, your millage rate is only 3. And then you take that and you add the other taxing districts, the county, the school, the healthcare, and all those other ones together, and you get to anywhere from 18 mils to 24 mils per $1,000 of value. Okay, so $18 per $1,000 of value. That's ad valorem. That's the top half of your bill. And by the way, we're mailing our proposed tax notices. I'm here at this very opportune moment. We mailed the proposed tax notices on Thursday, so everybody should be receiving them this weekend. So you can see this live on your notice if you take a look.
Trim notices going out.
Yep.
What does trim stand for?
Truth
I know.
in
Yes,
millage.
go ahead. Truth in millage. Right?
Truth in millage.
Truth in millage. That's
So the top
yeah.
half
No.
of your bill is those millage taxes, and below that is your non-ad valorem. So just by its nature, not based on value. Okay. So non-ad valorem, the most well-known one is Solid Waste Authority. Most of us pay Solid Waste Authority on our non-ad valorem assessments, but many communities over the years moved things like street lighting and sidewalks through the non-ad valorem process. So you may live in a community where you pay a relatively high non-ad valorem assessment because it's still paying for basically a loan that the community took out to put that infrastructure in. So if you've recently moved into Avenir, there's a good example. They have some very high non-ad valorems in Avenir. Wellington is another one, has had an non-ad valorem for many years. So just, again, you got to keep an eye out for that because, number one, those aren't going away, whether we pass this reform or not. And also, like we were talking about with the veteran earlier, if you are eligible for a lot of exemptions, you're still going to pay non-ad valorem assessments.
And there's a possibility that some of the things that are in the ad valorem category now could potentially be switched to the non-ad valorem because you still require those services. The amendment basically reduced the budget at the for the ad valorem stuff, and so they just still got to be paid for. So you got to shift it. So that's like one of those scenarios where you're kind of you're taking it away over here, but giving it back over here.
Exactly.
Which is
You've
what
got it.
everyone should be concerned about, right? Because you're talking about big budgeting shortfalls compared to their current level. Are you ready to talk about like those numbers? Like,
Yeah. So
And we're lucky
I'm
to have
just
Dorothy
gonna,
Jacks with us in studio,
you.
Palm Beach County Property Appraiser. Go ahead, Jim.
I wanted to just go over the state numbers and then see if you. So they're saying that if this is passed, it's estimated that from the state, about 4.6 billion will disappear from the tax rolls 27-28 through 2027-2028 fiscal year. But by the 2028-2029 fiscal year, it'll jump up to 8.4 billion a year in lost taxes based on this. Do you have any idea what would happen in roughly Palm Beach County?
Sure. I can tell you that the Palm Beach County operating millage, which you talked about earlier, that's at about 4 mils. And prediction for 2028 for Palm Beach County is they would lose over what they're collecting today, $324 million from the county.
324 just for the county.
Just for the county.
Not,
That's just
not all
the county.
the cities, not
No,
all the municipalities. And they got to add those losses on top of it if you want to know the total loss.
And each city is very variable what the number is. A lot of it depends on what the inventory is of that city. So what I mean by that is if you take a Lake Clark Shores, which is a predominantly residential, and then on top of that, predominantly homesteaded residential with very little commercial property, they are in a bad place. Somewhere like Haverhill, similar situation.
That would make sense.
They don't have enough non-homesteaded properties or commercial activities. So
Or-
a large percentage of their income comes from the homesteaded taxes.
Correct. And also they don't have much high end, very high end. So then you look at somewhere like Palm Beach where they have a lot, they do have probably 60% of their inventory. They're again, very residential. 60% of their inventory is probably homesteaded, but because their values are so high, we get into that business of above 250,000, you're still paying tax. So when you look at Palm Beach's numbers, the impact is much less. So then you take somewhere like a South Palm Beach. This is interesting. So it's a lot of condominiums, many of them lower value, but they are only limitedly homesteaded. So a lot of those are second homes, right? Seasonal homes. And so they're not so impacted because those seasonal homes will pick up the loss
So it's
to
really
the
going to be
homesteaders.
city to city.
Very much so.
I remember when this is a long time ago, but when I was covering the city of Boynton Beach and they were trying to go through their downtown renovation when all that was happening with all the other cities, a lot of the residents in that city voted to shut the ideas down because the three biggest voting blocks in that city were all 55 and over communities. And they just didn't want growth. They wanted to keep their taxes low, and they liked the sleepy town that Boynton is. I like Boynton. I'm not ragging on it. I really like Boynton, but they could never grow the way the other cities like Delray and Boca. They were just like, let's build Meisner Park, let's rebuild Atlantic Avenue, let's turn it into something. But Boynton is like, yeah, we kind of like it the way it was, and the city couldn't deal with it. And the other thing, Boynton, even though back then it was the third largest city in the county, they had a very low tax roll because there were so many retirees there. So their tax roll was lower. So they're always a little more cash drop than Delray or Boca. And I always found that to be fascinating. Has that changed much? I know that the Boynton is doing some downtown redevelopment, don't get me wrong, but I think they're still having that issue between the retirees and the new people moving in.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about Boynton. I don't know its politics all that well, but I will say that communities that have a mixture of residential and commercial, such as the Delrays and the Boca Ratones and even West Palm Beach, are going to survive this better than communities that don't. Because again, it will be, unfortunately, for the commercial property owners, this will fall on them. Because if the homesteaders don't pay, then the millage rate will have to rise. And if millage rates rise, then commercial property owners will pay a higher tax. The tax isn't different for whether you're residential or you're commercial. So the higher millage rates will hit those properties. However, it also, that sort of diffuse property type is better in this scenario than the not. I mean, the other communities I worry, Tequesta is very residential, but it's more communities where the values aren't as high. So Palm Springs is a good example. Green Acres, communities where there's still affordability. Well, it's so unfortunate. Communities where there's still affordability will struggle more than communities which have higher values.
Wow, that's a really interesting concept. We went through this a couple weeks ago, and Johnny thinks that it's going to pass. I think it's not going to pass. Right. Mike, I think, is up in the air. Jimmy, what did you think? Do you think it's going to pass, or you're not sure?
I'm leaning that it probably won't.
It won't. Yeah. And
my opinion is developing, but it's such a easy target. It's a very shiny object, like no property taxes. So I think if you start getting the word out, which I think it is, and it's coming from all sides, like, wait a second, guys, slow down. This is maybe not going to be as beneficial as you think it is. I think as that word is getting out from all corners, it's going to be a tough one.
Now, the thing that we did about a month and a half ago, I actually did some research and found out 6 or 7 states that have tried this in the past, going back all the way to the 1990s. Only one state passed it. Texas tried it like 2 years ago, or last year it failed. A whole bunch of other states tried it. They just shut it down, didn't even get there. One state, Michigan, did it. It was 1994. And they passed something very similar that we're trying to do. But then 3 to 4 years later, they had struggled and they had to reconfigure everything because it wasn't working the way that they hoped.
But we've done.
And I don't want that to happen here. You know, if it's going to work, I want it to work. Because if not, it's just going to be more headaches and more. It'll be costly just to try to figure out how to fix it. You know, if we do it the wrong way.
We've done it before here. I mean, and the whole reason we have the homestead and the Save Our Homes in the first place was to kind of prepare for increased home values and to, you know, save money for. Was it the same moment when they considered that legislation though? Because were they worried about budget shortfalls or overspending on budgets? Like, was there the same concerns about community service and like what are we losing by limiting the taxes?
Do you remember I'm sorry, just let me ask one quick, just to set the foundation. Do you remember what year the 25 to 50 went to when we went from 25 to 50?
I believe that was 2008. We voted on that and it went in 2009. But if you want to go back to Save Our Homes, for instance, you know, and I think it's important to point out that homesteaders in Florida are already getting a really nice break on their property taxes. They're getting the exemption itself. And then much more significantly, they're getting this 3% cap. And now they're getting portability, which came in 2008 also, which allows them to take that cap with them to another home. So if you're if you're a homesteader in Florida, you're already getting a lot of good stuff. You know, this is why this whole thing is kind of surprising to us that watch it, that, okay, so now we're going to give that group of people, just that group of people, you know, not the renters, not the first-time home buyers, not the people who are moving here. They're all kind of getting the hard side of our Florida property tax system. But anyway, so back to that, Save Our Homes, the thing that they built into that, which has helped, is that it goes away when you sell. So it's not forever. You know, it's not you're never going to pay property tax. When you buy your next home, chances are it might be a bigger home or more expensive home, and you can afford it because your life has changed and you're now able to afford it. And so you are able to pour it into that home, but maybe you'll pay more taxes at that new home.
So there'd be a reset, but you've got some cushion against that.
You've got some cushion against it.
It sounds like they had some level of your idea before, Jim, and they're like, so it's not about the home, it's about the homeowners.
Yes.
So that it's coming with you. Jim's idea is like it stays with the home, right? It's
so
maybe that's what they had before.
My theory is, just to make everything, I think it keeps it simple, is that let's say that I own a home and I've been there 15 years, okay? And now I'm selling it. And now the new person coming in that's buying the home is a first-time home buyer, okay? So they're not bringing portability over or anything. They're just brand new. In order so they don't get that shock where they're paying double the tax bill or even more, why could my theory would be is to let that new homesteaded person take over the homestead that the person has. I know that they're doing portability on the other side, but that would make things a lot more affordable for these first-time home buyers. But they have to, they have to have the intent that they're going to stay there as homesteaders. So they got to claim their homestead as they're buying it. Now, I know there would be loss there, but my theory is that you're not making more money off of the transfer from the one property to the other. I'm talking about the governments with the taxes, but you're getting the same amount that the other person had, and everything is fine with the services at that point because it's budgeted under that bill because nobody knows who's going to move and when they're going to move. And I felt like that would just be a more smoother way to handle all this than to go through all these if this, then that. But then I also know that
I think she just answered that, though. She said that one of the provisions was we realized that we were going to have a shortfall, so we'll reset. Like the reset is part of the revenue.
How bad would it be if everybody knew in advance that reset wasn't going to happen as much? Now, if a non-homesteaded person buys that 15-year homesteaded property, they don't get that break. They pay whatever the normal, the reset. They pay the reset. But if a homesteaded property went into that property, they could claim what the other person's homestead taxes were. Would that destroy the economy down
Well, I
here.
don't know that it would necessarily be fair because then you'd have buyers shopping for a house with low taxes, right? So
Okay.
you'd have that. What might work though,
People do that now, though, Dorothy.
but why? Because
Because
they're
they
going to
can't
lose
afford
that.
it. Because they
But they're
can't
going to
afford
lose that benefit. They're going to, that's the whole thing with you look at Papa and you see that right now the property's only got $1,700 in taxes. But as soon as you buy it, it's going to pop to $9,000 because you don't have that. The prior owner had homestead for 30 years, right? I think that new home buyers could be assisted through something like you're going to pay X percent of tax, 1%, we could say, for the first 5 years. Something like that, where the amount wasn't tied to the prior owner, the amount was tied to their ability to buy. So again, first-time home buyers are a real mix. You get people who are buying their $250,000 condo, right? But you get a lot of people who move to Palm Beach County that are buying a $6 million home. So, you have to think about if we're going to do a benefit for first-time home buyers. And I think that's the other thing we're not talking about is a first-time home buyer can be somebody's kid who's got a job and now wants to buy a home, but it can also be the guy who moved from New York who has $15 million in the bank. That's a first-time home buyer in Florida. So there would have to be some sort of sense of what do we mean by first-time home buyer? Do we mean a Florida resident who's lived here for 5 years who is buying their first home? Maybe that's the way to do it. And then we say, okay, this percentage of what they were able to buy it for is what they'll pay in tax for 5 years. And then it'll pop up. I'm giving them time to kind of get ready for what that tax hit is going to be. So then they pay what everybody else pays. The biggest thing I find is that people are concerned about why are my taxes so different from my neighbors? Well, of course, all that is caused by the caps and portability. And I'm homesteaded and you're not. And so, just adding more to that confusion, which Amendment 3 will do, but anything we do will add to that confusion. And I think the real issue that is happening is a question of spending. I think the public is angry that their taxes just keep going up and up and up and up. And there's two sides to this equation. This isn't just about the value. And the exemptions. This is about the tax rate that's set by the taxing authorities. And not much is being talked about that, about you could control how much the rate can increase every year. Now, governments would have to tighten their belts and consider the things that they're going to spend government money on. But in a way, that would be a better way to manage the problem. The concept of truth and millage, was that as values rose, tax rates would drop. And what that would mean is that even though your value went up, you weren't paying that much more tax because the rate was going down. And that lowered rate is helping everyone.
Right.
It's not just helping me, it's helping all
Everybody,
of us.
even
It's
the
helping
commercials, everything. Yeah.
all of them.
Right.
But that is what has not been happening, especially not here in Palm Beach County.
But if you're like a budget hawk, the approach would be go to those board meetings and figure out like why are the millages what they are? Why are they, let's reduce the budget by targeted, not kind of like this blanket thing. We could go for another hour on this subject. I wish we could.
I know. Do we have 1 minute, Jimmy?
That's about what we got.
Oh, that's all we got. Okay, so we got it because I had one more question. But can we have you come back, Dorothy?
Please.
Do we have time?
You just got to answer it in a minute.
So the question I had about that was the millage rate is the big thing that AJ was talking about, who's the appraiser on our show, right? And he's like, that's where we need to fix the problem. Is not raising the millage rates. Now we do have the 10 cap on the millage rate, so he's thinking that we should do something where the millage rates are the mechanism that makes everything affordable.
And I think that is where the talk needs to be, is around that side of it, with the understanding that you can't just start shoveling everything over onto the non-ad valorums. There would have to be a restriction on how much you could move to non-ad valorums and then control the millage rate. But I will say, I went to the budget hearing for Palm Beach County a couple of years ago, and there were only 2 people there, and one of them was complaining about their horses. So you see what I'm saying? Like, people need to get engaged. That trim notice has all of the public meetings for each of these taxing authorities. People need to go down there and say, I'm sick of this. I don't want to pay anymore. I want you to lower the tax rate.
On that trim note, there's 3 columns, right? It's like, here's what it is, here's what it would be if the budget passes, and here's what it would be otherwise, right?
What it would be, now this is important, what it would be if last year's budget was divided by this year's value.
Okay.
That rate is always the lowest, known as the rollback rate, and that's what we should all be asking.
We'll end it on that note. Dorothy Jacks, Palm Beach County Property Appraiser, thank you very much for your valuable time on a Saturday. You're always welcome to join us.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
We need more.
Mike Rao, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm, have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Jim Di Paola with the Florida Home Pros team, have a wonderful weekend as well.
Happy South Florida.
And Jimothy, thanks for everything, my dude.
Jonathan, have a great rest of your weekend.
Appreciate you. Always remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is a .com. Know it, use it, love it, share it, consume away on Facebook and YouTube. Especially our time with Dorothy today. Very valuable. Consume. Again, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. When you're buying a home, selling a home, stuck with a home, you don't know what to do, you need professional guidance on anything that touches the world of real estate. We got our pros pro for you. One click away. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We get back at it next Saturday. We'll do 2 hours. What do you say, guys? Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Greg's in the bullpen. We're going to squeeze out some sports. Hope you stick around. If not, we'll see you next Saturday. 2 hours of entertainment right here on Real Radio.